Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how to remove and how to replace wheel bearing hubs and wheel bearing kits. This is not the easiest job, and most likely you will require a hydraulic press. I have a friend of mine who has a large workshop and he has a 50-ton press, so hopefully this will make the job much easier. Now you can try and do it in any other way, but I find that using a hydraulic press is the safest and the easiest way to do this job. What I have in front of me here is I have the wheel bearing kit. The wheel bearing has the magnetic strip on the inside, and this is the actual bearing kit plate, which is mounted inside your hub, and this is where the wheel speed sensor mounts to. I will put pictures in the video also. You will see how rusty my wheel hub is. The bearings are not bad, but again, this is completely corroded. I can't actually mount my wheel speed sensor, so I'm gonna have to remove the whole assembly. I'm gonna press the bearing out. I'm gonna remove the old ring. I'm going to install the new one. I'm going to clean up, by the way, everything treated with rust converter, probably spray just to protect it from the elements. So yeah, very important when you install it, make sure you install it the correct way. And the kit also comes with the nut as well. So this is what's in one of these boxes. I'm doing both sides. I'm going to be replacing both bearings, and I'm also going to be replacing the actual wheel hub assembly and actual hub as well. Now I'm going to do, as I said, both sides, both bearings. I want to do this once. I want to do it right. I must say that the parts I'm going to be using today are supplied by Bilstein Group. These parts are Blueprint. Bilstein Group own Febi, Bilstein, Swag and Blueprint, as I mentioned. These are extremely high quality parts. They're OE matching, so they match the quality of the parts that came in your vehicle from day one. They have 3 years warranty and they're excellent value for money. So when you're buying these parts from your local shop, you're actually paying just a fraction of the price of what you will pay if you went to the dealership for the genuine parts. So I want to make this short and sweet, and I don't want to waste too much of your time. So let's get started and let's get the job done. The first thing you want to do is raise the vehicle and remove the front wheel. Remove the protective cap here. I'm going to use 11mm ratcheting spanner in order to loosen this. I'm going to hook up the bottle here so I can collect the brake fluid that is going to leak out. I'm going to remove all the brake fluid from the reservoir from the system. I'm going to be putting new fluid, and that's the reason I'm going to drain this, and I'm also going to avoid making a complete mess when I remove the brake caliper here. Now when you start loosening the bleeding valve here, you will see some oil will flow and then we're going to install the pressurized container there at 1 bar to flush all the fluid out. We've already installed the adapter here. Now when we click this in place, this will put 1 bar of pressure in the system. And we can already hear fluid draining into the tank below. I'm going to remove the whole caliper with the brake hose, but in order to do that you're going to obviously have to remove it from the brake pipes. So it's a good idea to clean up the rust and all the dirt, debris, sand and whatever you're gonna need 11mm spanner, and this is now loose. Once we undo the pipe here, then this rubber hose will free up, so we can remove it and then remove the caliper completely. That's the brake hose out. It's obviously attached to the hub assembly here as well. Now if you're gonna reuse this pipe, try not to bend it too much. That's the hose completely removed from the vehicle, and we need 12mm spanner here and there. I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do next so we can remove this caliper completely off the caliper carrier. You've got a bolt here on the top. Okay, that's one bolt out. We can now remove the bottle from here. So we removed one bolt from the top. We're gonna remove this bolt here on the bottom. So once you've done that, you can safely remove the brake caliper from the brake carrier. This is the brake caliper, this is the brake carrier. In order to remove the brake caliper carrier, you're gonna need 18mm socket. You have two bolts here, so you're gonna need a good ratchet. I'm gonna be using my 1/2" impact wrench here. One bolt out. Second bolt out, and that's the caliper carrier off the wheel assembly. Remove this screw here, or bolt, and that's the brake disc out. I want to show you how to remove front ABS wheel sensor on a Renault Trafic Vauxhall Vivaro or Nissan Primastar. Now I have removed the brake disc, the brake caliper and the caliper carrier, just so I can film this a little bit easier so you can see. Now this is extremely heavily corroded van. I don't know, must have been somewhere near the sea and a lot of salt on the roads. On the right hand side I had to basically replace the whole assembly, so I'm doing the same thing here, but I wanted to show you. There's a little clip here, and this is where the sensor is connected. So I'm gonna wiggle this out. This is not as bad as the offside. This is left hand side, near side. This is your sensor. This is how you remove it and clip it from the suspension arm as well. And there's one more clip here. And then this is connected into the wiring that goes into the ECU. So I'm gonna be replacing this rusty mess here. So this is how easy it is to unplug and remove ABS wheel speed sensor on a Renault Trafic Vauxhall Vivaro and Nissan Primastar. In order to remove the front suspension arm on a Renault Trafic Vauxhall Vivaro or Nissan Primastar, you have obviously 3 mounting points. You have 2 bushes on the right hand side, and you have a ball joint. The ball joint always gets really badly rusted. You can see what we're talking about here. This is very heavy corrosion on the drive shaft, the hub completely, and this ball joint here. So I'm gonna clean up the rust as best as I can. And then I'm gonna spray some WD-40. And after this, let's hope that this will come out easy. Now I'm gonna go on the other side, and I have a 24mm spanner with a spanner extension, so I have a little bit more leverage. Hopefully this will undo easily. I'm gonna tighten the knot back just because we are going through the rust and I don't want to damage the threads. I was using a standard 24mm spanner with a spanner extension, but it was too difficult to remove this knot here, so I actually had to buy this long 24mm aviation spanner. So I highly recommend you wanna get one of these. It's over 40 centimeters long, so hopefully this will do the job. It's also low profile as well, so hopefully it will get in place very easy. Yes, this is the spanner you want for this job. Otherwise, I would have had to cut it with a grinder, and I didn't really want to do that, to be honest with you. It's starting to get easier and easier, so looks like we've re-threaded this bolt. That's it. Hooray! The knot is out. What a pick of a job. Now I'm going to show you the easiest way to drop the ball joint. Obviously don't do this if your hub is made of aluminium, but this is made of cast iron, so I'm going to just that's the job done. We've got another bolt here and another one right here. This here is 21mm, so I've locked it in place. I'm going to use my impact. Okay, that's the knot and that's the bolt. And the last bolt on the top, it is 21mm again, so we can use the same spanner to lock it. And underneath here you have a 30mm socket. This is the knot. And this is the bolt. And that's the bolt out. Okay, we've removed all the bolts. I didn't bother to remove these because I'm just gonna take the whole suspension arm off. So get yourself a pry bar, and this is our suspension arm out. And look at this ball joint, by the way. It is absolutely done. So I'm replacing the whole suspension arm, all these 3 joints. Before we try and remove this nut, let's try and clean up as much of this rust as we can with a wire brush and the threads on the inner rod end. A bit of WD-40, both sides. You wanna try and undo this nut first, because if this is loose, then you're not gonna be able to loosen this nut, because this is gonna be moving left and right. So that's how I do it. I put a 21mm spanner. I just hit it with the hammer, and this is loose. I like to use one of these spanners. This is a 15mm spanner, and this was easier than I expected. It started to spin. So I'm gonna try and use an Allen key here, but because of the rust I might end up having to cut this. But we'll try and remove it without cutting. No, this is not gonna work. I don't want to ruin my Allen key. So as you can see, this is completely rusted. So we get the grinder and we cut it, and this is how you deal with this. This is already fallen out of here. So let me get my grinder and I'll show you how to deal with this bad boy. Yeah, I can feel it. There is play in the inner rod end. So I'm glad I'm doing this job right now. We're gonna be replacing both inner and outer rod ends. This is a 21mm socket and the bolts are very rusty, so I'm gonna have to beat this socket on top of the bolts.